Well, the three varieties we're putting in, one is called Quick Pick, which is a very short season variety. Stick the label in there. We also have King's Choice, which is a new variety of tomato by Northrop King, and then Celebrity. And Celebrity is a variety you may be fairly familiar with. It's very disease resistant and does very well in Oklahoma gardens. Stick that in there. We've raised the transplants. These were seeded on February 14th. So they're about a month old. These are in 2 1/4 inch pots, and they're just now to the size where they would need to be shifted to larger pots. If you started tomatoes earlier, remember, as we told you a month ago, when getting your tomato bed ready and starting tomatoes, don't ever let them get overcrowded. Now, this one's just about right in its ball of soil here. It's not overcrowded in the pot. Now, remember, with tomatoes, you can plant them quite a bit deeper than the soil level they grew at in your greenhouse or in your home garden window. If you're having trouble raising your tomato plants, having trouble with them getting leggy, and you don't have a grow light or don't have a greenhouse, you can set them in your window in a box that's lined with aluminum foil, and that will reflect more light, and they'll get off to a quicker start.
Here's your King's Choice.
Okay, thanks, Ray. Remember, this bed was prepared a month ago. We already worked in some compost and a 1/4 cup of lime per hole to add some calcium for the plants to prevent blossom end rot. Then we put the plastic over to preheat the soil. Now, once we get these plants in, our next step is to put some freeze protection around them, and that's using a wall of water, and that's a plant protector. And the first step is to put a plastic bucket over the top of where the plant is, and then take the wall of water and slip it around there. Then the next step is to fill each of these cells, and there are 18 of these, so it takes a little while to do.
So many of our viewers will remember that it wasn't very long ago that you talked about the wall of waters on Oklahoma Gardening, and that we were going to be doing this, and we've had a lot of interest in this. And I know a lot of people are going to try this year.
Well, I think that it's really going to be worthwhile in Oklahoma because we have such erratic spring weather. Now, I'm only filling this about 2/3 the way full because we want it to cave in on the top the first couple weeks and really keep the heat in.
One of the things I want to mention about this, Sue, is that last year, one of our local gardeners here in Stillwater won an early tomato contest using the wall of waters. His name is Dr. Taylor Scott. And in fact, his daughter works in the ag communications department that helps produce this show.
That's
and
right.
he won the early tomato in Zone 7, I think using the beefsteak variety. He got ripe tomatoes on June the 2nd.
In fact, the folks who supplied this, I think he was featured in their catalog.
The Gardener Supply catalog.
Gardener Supply up in Vermont. And they featured Mr. Scott from Stillwater, Oklahoma in their national catalog. That's exciting.
Well, it doesn't take long to fill all these little wall of waters up. And this is a handy little gadget that also the people from Gardener Supply catalog sent us. It's an attachment on the end of the hose that really works well because it has a little tapered end to go down into the compartments of the walls of water, and you can turn the water on just by pressing the end of the nozzle with your finger and then let it release. So these are really some neat things.
One last tip on filling the wall of water. It's a good idea to take a little bit of household bleach and put a small amount, maybe about a teaspoon to a tablespoon in each chamber. I've done all the others except for the last one Ray filled. The reason for that is you can get algae built up in there because you've not put in sterile water, and also there are fungal spores in the air around us. So having this around here for a few weeks, you may get algae built up. So that's one way to keep these clean and reusable for next year.
So now we need to take the bucket off that we had over our plant. Of course, the bucket in here is just to help hold this out while we fill it up. So we take the bucket off and voila, we're ready.
It collapses in on itself. Now, our graduate student Dennis used to live in the mountains of Utah, and he said he's seen these frozen solid and the tomatoes inside still be healthy. And in fact, in northern Utah, they ate tomatoes on June 1, so we ought to do better than that in Oklahoma.
We should. What else have you got there, Sadie?
Okay, Gardener Supply also sent, this is their advanced propagation system. We just wanted to show it real quickly. It's a styrofoam tray with a plastic tray in it to hold water. And then on top of that is a felt pad that is a capillary mat. And you set your tray of seedlings down over that after you've sown your seed, and it's self-watering. And then you just put a lid on. Now, I tried various transplants in this. I'd recommend that if you're going to raise something, raise all one species in it so they all come up at the same time. But we wanted to try different things, and it did work real well for us.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed our program today, and we want to invite you now to stay tuned for Festival 90. And if you enjoy Oklahoma gardening and what we bring you on the show, when you make your contribution to Festival 90, be sure and mark your ballot for Oklahoma gardening.
We hope you've enjoyed this classic from the Oklahoma Gardening Vault. Remember, even though these tips and techniques are timeless, there's always something new to learn in the world of gardening. By subscribing to both Oklahoma Gardening and OK Gardening Classics, you'll have access to a wealth of gardening knowledge, both classic and contemporary.